Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're a little late today. We were helping out our adopted grandma Marilyn with some organizing. So we were doing our good deed, but we really enjoy being around her, so it's not that big of a sacrifice. But anyway, today is Friday, April 27th. It is time for our weekly roundup that we do every Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
And since it has been about a week.
Yeah, I went live a little bit kind of farmy stuff yesterday because I missed you guys. But I'm sorry we haven't done any news since Sunday. So there's a lot of things that have been happening, right? We've got Trump doing the baby Macron meeting. We've got, right now, the Diamond and Silk duo
should have put that in the title.
Doing a congressional hearing. We've got the Korean War ending.
Over.
We've got Kanye West that y'all will get my opinion on that at some point. I can't. It's very painful for me. So what are we going to start off with? The Korean War ending?
The best news, like all the other stuff. And I'm sorry for baby Alfie, but still, I mean, this is the biggest news. You guys, the Korean War has officially ended. It's over.
I think that a lot of people didn't know it was still going.
Maybe you didn't.
No, I did. I'm just saying, I think there are a lot of people out there like, hang on, that was still a thing. There are a lot of people who don't keep up on the news. Our viewers probably.
But thanks to the North and South Korean president, we have a lot of interesting exchanges.
Yes.
And you sit back with us as I will take you through some highlights of this giant extravaganza that they put on today.
I think it's pretty exciting.
So first off,
a lot of pomp, a lot of
at a historic summit, South Korea's President Moon and North Korea's Kim Jong-un sign a Panmunjom Declaration for Peace,
South
Prosperity,
Korea's
and Unification
Moon
of the Korean Peninsula. Here we go. Sign it. Make it happen. The two leaders warmly embrace after making statements about the historic agreement.
Right, look how happy they are.
We declare together that there will be no more war on the Korean Peninsula, and a new era of peace is opening up. Today we make sure that the agreement we have reached, which the people of the Korean Peninsula and the world are watching, does not repeat the unfortunate history of unfulfilled promises by closely communicating and cooperating with each other in order to yield good results. I can't even. I feel like I'm like in the Twilight Zone or something.
I want to tell you something.
Myself.
Patriot Gallery said that she was watching it earlier today, and she's like, I wanted to cry.
You're going to see some moments that might bring you to tears too. Here's a message Kim Jong-un wrote on the guest book at the Peace House Summit venue, which reads, "A new history begins now," and I have goosebumps, "at the starting point of history and the era of peace."
So I want to ask the question that maybe is on some of our viewers' minds. What does this mean for the people of North Korea that still want to, I want to call it defecting, that want to leave, and South Korea opens their arms to those people? Will South Korea have a problem doing that without it being seen as, not an act of war, but, you know what I mean, a bad thing?
This is something we have to wait and see. The two Koreas agree, we know this much, to completely denuclearize the Korean Peninsula, to hold multi-party talks involving the U.S. and China, to have high-level military talks in May, and to establish firm peace regime. Kim says he hopes the two Koreas will reunite. We'll see, but I want you to see, I'm gonna take you through some of this. We're not gonna watch this whole thing, but they had, if pomp and circumstance was ever applied, it's here. So we have the North Korean guy coming out in a second. Hang on, we're gonna get there.
Did she go outside?
She did. Okay, hang on.
I'm gonna open this door.
I knew I was gonna miss something here.
Here, you can just go hang out on the porch, man.
Hang on the porch, man. Here we go. So this is later on in the evening after they first met. I'm going to show you when they met. Look at the smiling faces. Everybody is happy. And then they hold this, like, rock concert.
I'm digging the music, man. I can kind of dig it. Right?
Yeah, no, it's a big deal. Like, you guys, this is so interesting. Like, this is not the way I would bring to...
Listen to the music, though. That's not even the kind of music you would expect. Like something very...
No, but they
not
have
as
this
modern.
big show. Watch this show, man. Like, lights and, like, pictures of them when they first met that day.
Already?
Yeah, I'm not even kidding you. It's intense, man. Dude, imagine you're there. Everything goes dark. We're going to have, like, a big party. Like, seriously, a serious party.
It does feel like a party. What? There's a pianist there. I don't know if you guys can see this. This would have been better for me to drop into my link.
I know.
It's okay. If you have another one, I can... The pianist is really hitting it, man. Whoa. That's nice. That is really nice.
To the peace of the Korean Peninsula. May the North Koreans be rid of worms and finally get to eat. Thank you, Donald Trump, for averting nuclear war. We're gonna get going here.
We just get... Oh, it's too long for us to play the whole thing, eh?
It's 28 minutes, yeah.
Whoa. So I'm going to try to drop this link in the description so you guys can, if you want to watch the whole thing, get a little misty-eyed there.
They've been planning this for a while, by the way.
What the heck? And then there's a band up there? It's nice. Oh, wow.
This is pretty cool. I don't know.
This is really cool.
I don't know. I just, picture guy was like, you gotta watch this. It's just cool, man. Oh, you gotta see. Look at the birds flying on the wall there. Butterflies.
Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. That's like animation.
And it's pretty cool. So when I get to the picture of, yep. Here we go. All right. This is pretty cool. So they already have this slideshow. You ready? This is what's, I don't know. There you go. Look this.
Oh my gosh.
They're honoring their first handshake.
Holy cow.
And that just was that
Move
morning.
your head. That was a nice love tap, by the way. Love.
Look at them. Look
Look
at
at
them.
their faces.
If I get this out on time, you can watch this live on Blogger. Resistant Chicks and Isaiah 58 Ministries.
Okay.
It's on there live.
I'm also dropping the link to this in the description. I don't know what that music is saying, but it sounds nice. And they have their family involved.
I gotta tell you, the South Korean.
They're holding hands, like, for real.
He's not gonna let him go. He's like, We're going to have peace. We're going to have peace. We are going to have peace. We are going to have peace. And the South Korean wife, you know who she thanks? She said this is all due to Donald Trump.
No way.
All due to
The lady on the far left. Well, you're right. We were looking at it.
They've been really afraid. Like, seriously afraid.
So do you think that Kim Jong-un feels like
A rock star. I'm hoping that's what he's feeling like. I think that's what they're trying to go for. The reward the bad kid for doing something good, like reward the bully.
Okay, yeah.
When he does something
that
good.
wasn't where I was going with that, but I can totally feel that. I was thinking, do you think he feels like he's stronger with South Korea, and it creates a mightier front to be united with South Korea, as opposed to feeling alone
I don't know.
and a little bit more weak? Sheila on Facebook Live says, I love it. A new beginning.
Yeah, pretty awesome, actually.
Well said, Sheila. So, Devonna has a little bit of a different take on YouTube. She said, that man is a mass murderer. Yep.
Let's keep him from killing more people.
Yep.
Remember, he was raised under his father, okay? Same thing as Assad. Sometimes you can modernize and come out of it. And sometimes you have to work with people who are wanting to come out. And I know Ben Shapiro said that he's saving his, joy for later. But the South Koreans are not. They're pretty excited about this. And he is a crazy man. Okay, watch this. This is hilarious. So, wherever he goes in his
Motorcade?
limo, his bodyguards run with it.
What do you mean? They don't have like little motorcycles or something? They should give them little motorcycles.
They've already been running today. This is not their first run.
Well, for how long though?
I don't know how far they go, man. I don't believe they could run far in the suit and tie.
What kind of shoes are they wearing?
I don't know,
Listen
man.
to this music. It sounds like a Disney movie.
That's what, yeah, I know.
I think they probably had a Disney composer do the score.
Oh, they're going faster now.
They better be able to run pretty fast, dude.
I only got one left running.
Run, slaves, run, says Devon.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Where is it? Here is it again earlier today when he was going to lunch.
Let's say it this way. For South Korea's sake, this is a very, very good thing. So I think that we can't negate that. I don't know what any other option of peace would look like. So for South Korea, I am happy. And hopefully for the North Korean people, this might bring in some freedom. We'll see.
Hopefully they don't go too far, man.
Into a date. Yeah, they're really having to huff it there.
I did that a couple times today. Hopefully they're in pretty good shape. All right, so
What do you guys think?
what do you guys think? What do you guys think?
I think it could be a good thing. I'm happy for South Korea.
It's a fantastic thing. Donald Trump says, Korean War to end. The United States and all of its great people should be very proud of what is now taking place in Korea. After a furious year of missile launches and nuclear testing, a historic meeting between North and South Korea is now taking place. Good things are happening, but only time will tell.
All right, so I think we have a couple of people that have maybe my opinion on this. I don't know. I'm a little bit double-minded about it. So some of you guys have half my brain in the comments here. Let me see if I can get them to scroll through. Somebody said, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I think that was Baker Mom. Let's see. The calm before the storm, says Simon. Buzzy says New World Order is using Trump. Devonna says, yep, let's celebrate this hot mess and then let all the North Koreans get out of there. I hope they want to leave, and I hope they get to leave. That is a thing. That is a thing for sure.
A lot of Koreans will be affected by watching an older Korean gentleman, the South Korean president, holding hands with a very young North Korean leader.
Very young.
And interacting in a way of mutual
30s.
respect, treating one another as equals. I don't think that today's event is really going to rattle people who are deeply committed to being skeptical of the North. But I think there are a lot of people in the middle who sort of judge it case by case. Younger South Koreans, for example, will look at something like this and, say, he's a little more normal than we expected.
For mass murder. Which you could tell that they were trying to appeal to the younger crowd.
Yeah.
With what they did. Sunday O'Connor says, I'm not sure if I trust the man. The proof is in the pudding. Praying for South Korea.
You don't need to trust.
You
don't need to trust.
Need to
Yeah.
trust. Jacob says, I think it's just a smokescreen so that Trump calms down a little. Could be. Jojo says, we should thank God that we have Trump. This would not have happened without him. I agree. I don't think, regardless of what you think of what is happening here, it would not be happening if it weren't for Trump.
Right.
Jim West says, Kim destroyed his nuclear sites, so powerless anyway, so looks to have caved in.
So here's some key quotes. Kim about North Korea's early morning missile test. I heard you, Pres Moon, had early morning sleep disturbed many times because you had to attend the NSC meetings because of us. I will make sure your morning sleep won't be disturbed. While inspecting together South Korea military honor guard, Moon says, I can show you scenes far better than this if you come to the South's presidential Blue House. Really? I will go to the Blue House anytime if you invite me.
Wow. Sean says, I think it's a great move for Korea and for both countries, for both Koreas.
As Kim crosses the border to South Korea in Panmunjom, Moon says, while you come to the South, when can I possibly go over there to North Korea? Kim says, why don't we just cross over now? Moon says, I have never been to North Korea's Mount Pictou. I really want to visit. Kim says, honestly, I'm worried that our transport situation is bad, so it may discomfort you. It may be embarrassing for me for you to visit North Korea after living in the South's environment.
Wow. That's kind of huge.
Yeah. Kim says, I saw that many people, including the residents of border Yeonpyeong Island, who had always been worried of another bombing by North Korean military, had hopes of our summit today. I hope that today's event would become an opportunity to heal the wounds between the two Koreas.
Wow.
Kim says, there is as much skepticism as hope over today's summit. We had reached big agreements before but failed to implement them for over 10 years. There's skepticism over whether today's summit will lead to tangible result. Kim says, but if we walk hand in hand with firm determination, how could things go worse than now?
Huh.
Moon says, past inter-Korea deals were reached at the end of the administration, so they were not implemented after administration change, but I took power only a year ago. So those are some quotes, so you can kind of see where things are going.
How could things get any worse than they are right now? That's a good point. Very good point.
Yeah. So I am cautiously optimistic. Here's a little clip of them smiling and having lunch here. And if this guy, this South Korean guy, is worth his salt, then he'll know, and he'll know how to reach this young man, because this young man is very broken, whether you know it or not. He was raised in North Korea.
Right.
The fact that he is embarrassed, he knows what it's like. He knows that his people are eating dung and filled with worms, and he's had to put up a front, and he has had to put up a powerful front. And I'm with Mom. Like, I'm moved to tears because I see a young kid who has been raised in an environment that literally trained him to be who he is. And possibly he doesn't want to be this guy.
Possibly.
He doesn't want to have... Everybody wants stuff. You know what I mean? Like, everybody wants to be prosperous. And I really think that this kid, he didn't have any way around it. How could he, without losing face, right? So, I don't know. I am cautiously optimistic. Kim and Moon discussed the denuclearization and a permanent peace on the Korean Peninsula, as well as ways to develop inter-Korean ties. Moon's spokesman says adding the two leaders' wives will join them for a banquet. So that was later. I don't think that she's actually willing bride. 3 generations of South Koreans tell the AFP what they think of the historic summit. Let's see.
그게 제일 중요한 거예요.
Let's see here. South Koreans see North Koreans with different eyes.
근데 거기서 기대하는
My
것도
hope for the South
우리
North
대통령이
Summit on
저놈들이
April
농간에
27th is
넘어가지
that our
말아야
president
된단
doesn't
말이야.
get tricked.
그게
That's the
제일
most
중요한
important
거예요.
thing.
저놈들이 거짓말을
They've
여태까지
been
했어.
lying all the time,
1000번,
1,000
1000번
times.
했어.
They always
그리고
deceive
나중에 또 딴 짓 하고.
us, so we can't trust them. They're the world's
세계에서
best
거짓말 제일
liars.
잘하는 놈이야.
So it looks
양쪽이
like
서로 이렇게 그 평화를
he's like
얘기하고
30.
The fact that both sides are willing to discuss peace and overcome, yes, that's right. The fact they're different, discuss their differences is a big step forward, and I believe and I expect that we will become a greater peninsula through such steps. I don't really feel the need for it. It doesn't matter if we do, if we don't.
하든 안 하든 크게 상관없는데.
But I don't know if we have to.
꼭 해야 될지는 모르겠어.
So you get the idea of what the Koreans think of it. So this is history in the making, and you know, anything.
I
gotta
think
give
that
Donald Trump.
Leah. Go ahead.
Donald Trump kudos. Go ahead.
I think Leah makes some really good points on the fact that he is a mass murderer. He is a crazy dictator, but he was raised in that. He was raised in that,
Right.
okay? He kind of is still a child, my age, roughly, give or take, and in forms of leadership.
You know, it's
that's,
just
to me,
months
very, very
ago
young.
that that Kim Jong-un was firing missiles all over the.
Go ahead.
So there is room for change, I think, here.
Yeah.
And repentance. And let's see. Let's just see what happens. I don't see some 65-year-old dictator who has been doing this his entire life. I don't see that here.
Yeah.
So let's give it the wait and see.
Yeah. So
That's all I'm saying.
Trump says, I want to express my hope that all the people of Korea, North and Korea and South, can someday live in harmony, prosperity, and peace, and it looks like it could happen. And Moon did avoid many specific pledges. There were broad promises of economic and political cooperation. So Trump's, what's next? Trump is supposed to meet with Kim Jong-un.
Yeah. I thought that was going to happen a while ago.
So
Okay, a while meaning like
Well-
a couple weeks ago. Devonna says, girl, you were raised in hell, as was I, but who are we now? There's a difference. And I think you can agree with me on this. I wasn't raised in brainwashing. I was raised completely made aware. My mom made sure that I knew what was going on in the world. I was not raised under, in my humble opinion,
These people
the
in North
worst
Korea-
brainwashing
yeah.
on the planet,
Right.
bar none.
Right.
That is what's happening in North Korea. So we do have to give credence to what happens to someone's psyche when they are completely...
He shouldn't be a leader
Brainwashed.
at all, right?
That is a thing. Well, I wasn't brainwashed. Maybe you were. I don't know. I had some brainwashing of the world to come out of, but like not in one of those creepy movie type. These people that live in South Korea or North Korea, literally believe that Kim Jong-un and his family are God and can read their thoughts. That tells me that Kim Jong-un is probably raised to think that he is God and can read people's thoughts. I mean, seriously.
But then he knows that he's
How
not,
do you come out of that? And so let's give him a chance to come out of it. I believe that true repentance says, you know what, I can't be the leader, I have to step down, but he actually needs to get woke enough to get to that place.
We'll see what happens here.
It wouldn't have happened without Trump. It may not happen, but it's the biggest change since the end of the hostilities. The fact that the North Korean and South Korean president met and they vowed to end the war. What happened? Donald Trump convinced North Korea and China he was serious about bringing about change. We're not there yet, but if this happens, President Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize.
And Kim Jong-un just got fearful and wondered how this was going to affect North Korea.
So all of the criticism of President Trump on fire and fury and maximum pressure, I'm glad he didn't listen to all those who failed before him. He has convinced North Korea got two options. You can become a normal country, or we will take you down if you keep trying to build missiles to hit the American homeland. And I think they convinced North Korea and China that Trump is serious. Every president before him tried this. What is different about Trump? They believe in North Korea, if he had to as a last resort, he would stop their nuclear program. We're not there yet, but if we get there, it will be because of President Trump. A word of warning, the worst thing Kim Jong-un could do is play Trump. To go through all these motions and go back to the old way of doing business, Donald Trump will not tolerate being played. We're either going to have peace or we're going to have a war now because Kim Jong-un has made a mistake if he's not serious, and that's playing Trump.
And that's really true.
Yeah.
That's a kind of an act of war. Mm-hmm. If, you start to...
Well, we'll find out. He's going to meet with Trump. I like what Stuart the Brit says. I think once the North Korean people see what they have missed out on for years, they themselves will get rid of Kim. Let's hope they get the chance to see what they have missed out on for years, because there is still heavy is not the word. There is still 100% censorship in North Korea. You can be put to death for watching a movie that you and I would take for granted. Yeah. Just a regular movie, not propaganda, right. Not resistance chicks. I mean, literally, you and your whole family will be put to death for watching resistance chicks in North Korea for sure.
Yeah, so keep North Korea in your prayers. And speaking of keeping people in your prayers, this is one of those really sticky situations where Go ahead.
I want to get to So What's comment here. He says, so if I would have murdered more than 100 people, innocent civilians, would you forgive me? This isn't about forgiveness. This is not about redemption. This is not about saying, you know what? I think this Kim Jong-un guy could be a good guy. I think he could turn out to be a fantastic fella and he can bring... No. You don't understand. It's this. Sometimes you have to work with these crazy people. In order to it's like negotiating, it's like hostage negotiation is what we're dealing with here. He is holding an entire country hostage.
It is a hostage negotiation.
So let's see if we can get some of the hostages. Let's see if we can get the country, and we'll deal with the dictator. The people, like Stuart said, we'll deal with the dictator later. All right? Forget that. Stop holding a grudge and say we can't do anything, because that doesn't care about the hostages that are in an entire country. I feel like you guys are kind of a little bit heartless here. And I mean that with a lot of love.
What's your plan?
What are you going to do?
What's your plan? You can't just go in and try to take him out. How are you going to do that? South Korea is living in constant fear with all these missile tests that these missiles are going to end up in killing innocent civilians.
Let's go with the peace
program the number one goal, let's not kill innocent people. Let's not do a whole Hiroshima where... Oh, well, in order to stop the Japanese, let's just bomb a bunch of people with a nuclear bomb. So, it's kind of like you don't go, like in Syria, you don't go and kill innocent people to say, hey, I'm saving you from a dictator. Right?
Exactly, because they're like, well, let's just kill him. How do you kill him? How do you kill this guy? Because if Trump goes to a peace talk, right? And then his Secret Service, who are you going to send, military, whatever, if that's your in, the peace talk is your in, and then you kill that guy, what does that say to the rest of the world or other dictators or other people that want to meet with Trump? It's going to be
assassination.
Seriously? You can't do that. So this is what they are doing. It seems to be working. I'm okay with it.
Patriot Gallery.
Patriot Gallery.
Around here we say there are 3 levels, 1, 2, and 3. 1 is total despair. A lot of people in the chat are in total despair. Because they made experiences so you would feel this way.
Right.
The globalists, they propagandize. They always win. And so you've given up all hope. Because they always win.
Right.
But I've been there, done that. But then eventually I pulled myself back out of it because it's suffering. And then there's level 2. There are answers in the world. I ran a department, 200 people, 3 different departments. And we had a contest. And everybody, the bosses, had experienced negative stuff. Which I didn't. Because they looked at what had happened in the past. And I was looking at what we had. We had these great employees, but to them, they were awful, they're terrible, they always... But I started motivating them, and it was the greatest contest they ever had. Because I saw what we had. And when we went out to Oklahoma, we didn't have anything, but we saw what we did have.
Right.
If you look at what you do have and work with what you do have, you can be successful. But if you try to work and say, well, won't work because I don't have this. Won't work because I don't have this. Won't work because I don't have this. You know, you got to stop that because we have an internet now that we have never had before. Mm-hmm. And I hope Leah is going to share about Bavaria. There was another country that set free, Armenia. I mean, there's so much happening. And you're just looking at what the bad people are still doing and continuing to do. You don't take them down overnight.
Right.
Trump is really destroying everything Obama did. He's got to destroy what Bush did. He has to destroy 100 years of things. In 1 year, people expect him to do all this at one time.
Yeah.
No. It doesn't work that way. And when God starts working with your mind, you're not going to be healed overnight. You've been brainwashed since you were in kindergarten, or maybe some of you went to daycare.
Right.
All those years need to be healed, and it won't heal overnight. And this country won't heal overnight. And Trump's biggest enemy would be me. Because I have faith in God for everybody to have houses, homes, farms, and live free from factory industry. Whereas Trump wants factory industry. So which one of us is right and which ones have faith in God? So his enemy isn't North Korea. It would be someone who has faith in God to uphold the Constitution as written with gold and silver.
Right.
So I want to get to some hope where Mom was talking about Bavaria has decided, in order to push back against the Islamization of Germany, to put up crosses on all entrances of all government buildings and in their schools.
That's huge.
It quote unquote reflects the state's cultural identity. The Bavarians Christian Social Union Party said, and what I understand is the Christian Social Union Party is an arm of the Christian Democrats, and so what, you would know better than me. But they are the anti-Islam arm of Merkel's little coalition there. The move has already drawn a furious reaction from opposition politicians. Crosses are already compulsory in public schools and in courtrooms in Bavaria.
It's Bavaria, but it doesn't matter. That's going to be our accent. I say Bavaria too.
Bavaria has ordered Christian crosses to be hung at the entrance of all regional government buildings. The German state's government said the crosses should not be seen as religious symbols, but are meant to reflect the southern state's cultural identity and Christian Western influence. Obviously, people are upset about this. I'm rather excited about this. The arch-conservative Christian Social Union, allied with Merkel's party, faces a stiff challenge from the AfD because, they're both vying for people who believe in their country.
Right.
So Premier Marcus Soder's proposal to display the Christian symbol in all regional government buildings is almost certain to be challenged in court, but we'll see. We want to give a clear signal that people have a desire to stress their identity. He said after being photographed affixing an ornate wooden cross, a gift of a former Munich cardinal, to a wall in the premier's office. And so this is something that I believe is really positive and going against the politically correct vein of the world today.
I love it. Sean says, well done, Bavaria. Tracy and I love it there and have visited many times. I love that you guys are able to just travel.
Just travel
into Bavaria.
So I want to go to some sad news and I want Nigel to talk about Alfie Evans. Now, a lot of children are dying all over the world. Why were we going to bring up Alfie? Number one, because everybody is. The Pope has even offered to use helicopters to fly into Rome. Rome's offered to give this child, you might not know this, but there's a child who was on life support. And in the UK. Again. And the NHS said, we're pulling him off life support. Well, Italy says, we'll take him.
They have literally given him citizenship. He is an official Italian citizen.
What socialism does, and one of the main reasons why we're against the NHS and things like National Health Services and socialism, because the more socialized you become, the more that government owns you.
You, in America, I don't know about the rest of you in Europe and in the UK, but Americans probably can't fathom the idea that they would not be able to pull their child from a hospital if they had the funds, and the funds are there, to take them to another country for treatment because the government literally says, we think that your child's quality of life is too poor, they must die.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're saying.
If a society is best judged by the quality of its mercy, well, Britain's socialized medical system appears to be failing that test. 23-month-old Alfie Evans is dying tonight from a neurological condition doctors have been unable to diagnose. He was taken off life support by court order on Monday.
Court order.
Yesterday, an appeals court refused to let Alfie's parents take him to Italy, which is offering an alternative treatment and citizenship. Here to discuss why little Alfie's life matters and what it tells us about socialized medicine is Brexit leader Nigel Farage in London. And this is a live show, and it's the middle of the night. Nigel, thank you so much for being here. I've been praying for Alfie and his family, but I have a question for you tonight. How can courts in the EU and in the UK prevent a family from removing their child from a hospital and taking him or her to another country for treatment? How is that even happening?
Well, what's happening here is the rights of the parent to do what they think are right are being taken away from them. We have a case here, and by the way, it's not the first. We had a big one last year concerning a small boy called Charlie Gard who wanted to go to America for treatment that was not available in the UK. And in this case, for young Alfie, there's treatment available in Italy that is not available here. Now, the little boy is very sick, but I mean, any parent in the world who's got a child that's sick would move heaven and earth if somebody else could offer them a different treatment. And yet, what happens here is our state-run medical system decides there is nothing else that can be done, and backed up by state courts, they make a decision that those parents are not fit to move their child somewhere else. And when you think about this case, I mean, the Pope's intervened, the Italian president even granted the boy Italian citizenship, and still the medical profession and the courts say, no, we're sorry, we're putting the plug, the life support machine has been turned off. So this gets to the absolute heart of how much freedom does the individual have? How much decision-making process do the parents have? Yeah. Or are our children now owned by the state?
I mean, Nigel, it's almost like they broke Alfie's father today, because at the beginning of the day, he was saying, come here and see how my son is a hostage of this hospital, which is what we on this show and so many others have called him. He's like a hostage of the National Health Service. And he said, what we are enduring is not right. But by the end of the day, he had changed his tune and basically said, everybody go back to your lives. And I think the hospital kind of
threatened him.
Sounds like he was threatened. And he said, you're not going to get anything from us unless you tone it down.
There was a picture yesterday of this hospital, Alderhay Hospital in the northwest of England, with 20 uniformed police officers standing outside the door of the hospital to stop little Alfie being taken out and to stop protesters from getting in, using the police to keep the child in the hospital. Now, these parents have been through every single legal process available to them, and I'm guessing now that the life support machine has been turned off, now that there is no prospect at all of the young boy going to Italy, in the end, the father has accepted the inevitable. Whether he was threatened or not, I don't know. But what I do know is that when I was involved in this Charlie Gard case last year, I turned up outside the hospital, in this case Great Ormond Street Hospital in London, and I was told in no uncertain terms by the PR services for the hospital that what I was doing was damaging the reputation of the hospital by doing press reports outside where this little boy was dying. And it is just, it's classic of the establishment closing ranks, the state being all powerful. And frankly, what is happening today, what is happening right now, is a form of state-sponsored euthanasia, and I hate it.
No, he's now an undesirable, and we can't help him. Undesirable because he can't be fixed. I think part of it, we're almost out of time. I think part of it, Nigel, is the National Health Service. They don't want to risk the fact that he goes over to Italy. Maybe he gets treatment and he has some quality of life, and that's a big embarrassment to the National Health Service. Thank you for being up late for us tonight, Nigel.
All right, so
I know it's a big thing for a lot of people.
It is a big thing. Somebody was saying that they lost subscribers when they covered Charlie Gard because they had to speak out against socialized medicine. Britt Baza, and I have heard this from other UK viewers who I love and who I respect, and I want to give honor to this opinion, says when he was 19 years old, he had something the NHS had to take care of, and if they had not, he wouldn't be alive here today. So a lot of people get stuck in a rut. The NHS helped me, and if it weren't for the NHS, I wouldn't be alive. I wouldn't have gotten this treatment, and so we have to have the NHS. We have to have the NHS. Here in the United States, a majority of our hospitals are run on a charity base. They were started by, the Little Sisters of the Poor or something.
They're called names like Bethesda,
Christ Hospital. Mom, what are some
Luke's,
of the other ones that we have?
Good Samaritan.
Good Samaritan, Good Sam.
Jewish Hospital.
Jewish. They all, and every single one of our hospitals, in these instances, if you cannot afford to pay, there is a pay down scale. They will give you,
for food, Mom.
She probably, maybe just give her that one that's right there,
dogs.
Mom. They will help you, all right? You're not going to go without treatment here. So what has happened with socialized everything, including medicine, is when the state takes over and they take all of the people's money, there's no money left to give to charity. Medical services should always be charity-based. Prices, even in the UK, are far more inflated than they should be. Big Pharma is allowed to charge astronomical. The medical services are allowed to charge astronomical prices. And they can do it because it is footed by the UK people through taxation. All right? So it's an entire system that is corrupt. But if you don't have the NHS and you have that money in your pocket, you can have individual health care, and you will have money to donate to medically charitable services that help take care of people who cannot afford. There is always something else, and it should never, ever, 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 ever be socialized medicine, because it's a poor form of medicine, and it's forced, and they control you, and they own you. It's never worth your life.
It's
never worth someone else's life. Well, but they don't have a constitution over there. I mean, they do, but it's not the same as ours. All right, Patriot Gallery has something to add.
Well, it's healthcare, Social Security, public school. It's all welfare. It's stealing. You're stealing from somebody else to give to somebody else, and it breaks the commandments of God.
That's very true, Britt Baza. Unfortunately, you don't have a right to steal from someone else so that you can live.
Unfortunately,
it's just a fact of life. But you do have a right to have charity to help take care of you.
And the reason people steal is because they're no longer obeying God. Now, let's say your government lets go of everything and gives everybody their own land and says, listen, if you don't work your land, you don't eat. That's the Bible. If you don't work your land, you don't eat. If you don't go grow your own food, you don't eat. If you don't heat your house, if you don't cut your firewood, you don't heat your house.
Right.
I mean, it's just natural ways of doing things. Now, that's the healthiest life a person You go to the Amish, and most of them are healthier than anybody else in the world. You won't get their statistics because people won't want you to know that farming and healthy. Farming was the first job for man in the Garden of Eden. It's the healthiest way to live.
Right.
The food's the healthiest. So you don't need health care.
So they make you sick by pulling all the people off the farms, throwing them in cities, feeding you horrible food, even in the UK. It's not ideal. It's not your life isn't the way that it should be. You're not your own man. You're not your own boss. Actually, Britt Baza is. He's a rare case. But they do this. They make you sick. Then they make you dependent upon their system. And then they own you for life.
The number one problem is putting people together. See, at a farm, you're isolated and separated almost all day long, except for on Sunday. And so what happens is when you come into a community, a city, a public school, a workplace, you're going to pass around sicknesses and diseases.
Right.
You're going to share all kinds of diseases with each other, and you're going to make each other sick. But on top of that, what makes you sick is when you sin and you do something immoral because it breaks your mind. Now, if you're at home, you're wholesome, your mind is healed, your mind isn't broken, God's forgiven your sin, and you're healthy. So the more they put, the Bible says that immorals will break the morals of a good person. So you go to work, go to school, and have the best morals. You stay there 7 years later, you'll find kids break at seventh grade. They're great kids till 5th and 6th grade. Then 7th grade, they break because it takes 7 years to break that child and mold him into the image you want him to be instead of the image they had. Every 7th grade, you start smoking, you start sleeping around, you start doing all this bad stuff. It's 7th grade. It always takes 7 years. Whereas that child had been home, that wouldn't happen.
Right.
You wouldn't fall into rebellion. But I wanted to say, the most important thing about America for the world is we have the biggest army in the world. China's not the biggest army. We have 300 million guns in the people's houses and homes. Now, we won't be drafted. We will be fighting for our very lives. And we don't have anything to lose because most people in America would rather die than have their guns taken from them or their rights or their freedoms taken from them. And you can't beat a country who of their own free will know that their cause is just, their cause is right, and their God is with them because God is with us if they start fighting with us because our cause is right and just. And so you just can't defeat it. So you don't have to have all this fear, guys. I mean, we're talking 300 million, and that's just that they know of. What about the ones they don't know? And then what's on the inside of people that makes them strong in battle, not what they've been trained. Because you freeze up in battle. You forget everything you learned. Whereas this natural instinct to protect yourself, protect your family, kicks in. You cannot take over Afghanistan. Why? They're fighting for their homes. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how big your army is. You will not defeat Afghanistan. So we got 300 million guns.
She's so right. And I'm reminded, and I said this last week about one of our viewers Eric, who was broken into, and he chased these crooks into the desert with his 9mm, held them at bay. His wife stayed at the door with a gun, protecting the kids, until the cops could get there. There is nothing like a man or woman who is going to protect their family. Nothing like it. So, well said, Patriot Gallery.
All right, so Diamond and Silk went to a congressional hearing on social media, and the horrible censorship. And I'm going to play you a clip from
this is just
Tucker
from today.
Carlson. No, this is from yesterday.
Last year,
let's see here.
6 months. Now, Donald Trump introduced you all at a rally last year, and he introduced y'all saying that you were very popular and you had made a ton of money based on your affiliation with him. Isn't that correct?
Let me tell you what he was doing.
Yes, sir.
He was calling those things that was not as though they were, is what he was doing then. But let me tell you something.
He has given you...
But Facebook censored us for 6 months.
Hold on 1 second, ma'am. The point I'm trying to make is you all have been bashing Facebook and you've been making a ton of money. Isn't that correct?
No.
Wait a minute,
hold up. Unsafe to the community.
You've not been making a ton of money based on your bashing of Facebook?
No. We didn't bash Facebook. What we did... We brought it to the light on how Facebook has been censoring conservative voices like ourselves for 6 months, 29 days, 5 hours, 43 minutes, and 40 seconds. That's what they did.
Now, I can tell you something.
Have you been making money? Have you been monetizing?
They won't let us monetize on Facebook.
So you haven't
they stopped it for 6 months, 29 days.
So they've been messing with your money then.
Exactly.
They limited our page is what they did.
And YouTube did also by demonetizing 95% of our videos for no reason at all, deeming it as hate speech. However, allow me to say
that we're selling merchandise on the...
well, even if we sell merchandise, that don't have anything to do with Facebook. Facebook censored our free speech. And shame on the ones that don't even see that we have been censored. Yet, when the Black Lives Matter people complain about it, oh, everybody is up in arms. Let me just say this here. If the shoe was on the other foot and Mark Zuckerberg was a conservative and we were liberals, oh, all fences and all chains would have broke loose. You know it and I know it. But what I find appalling is that these Democrats, they don't want to take up for our voice.
Democrats would be in the street. Democrats would be in the street right now marching and calling him all type of races.
I'd like to give you a little bit more time. I'd like to give you a little bit more time, but I've got to move on. I only got a minute left.
Okay.
But I appreciate you all for your entrepreneurial spirit. And we're giving you a tremendous,
and we want to attain it too.
And we're giving you a tremendous platform with this hearing to make a ton of money when it's over.
That's right. And I hope everybody on Facebook can follow us.
And yes, that's right. That's right. Because that's what it's supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about the obtaining the American dream. We are African American women. If illegal aliens can come over here and build businesses, why can't we? And we were born on this soil. Well, you don't have a right to silence my voice.
Well, now I've always heard though that diamonds are a girl's best.
They are, and they hard too. And if I got to be hard and be firm with you, I will. You're not going to brush us off and dismiss us.
No, you're not.
Like we don't have merit here. These people censored us for no reason. They put limitations on our page for no reason, and that was wrong.
But rather than diamonds, you're seeking money with Facebook.
No, they have a message.
If Facebook is a platform for you to make money, then so be it. Everybody else do it.
And don't stop us from making it.
And don't make us feel guilty because we and other people that's built their brand page want to make money. We've spent plenty of money.
All right. Okay, I'm with you on that. I'm just astounded that this committee would stoop to this level to be positioning you all to make more money.
We really thank the committee for allowing us to the light. For little voices like us. It's little voices like us.
Because it wasn't you. You didn't do it.
The time of the gentleman has expired.
All right, here's the thing. I got big problems with that dude. Okay? Because I want to know what he be doing to make money. Because apparently making money now is looked down upon.
How much does he take home from his government paycheck?
How much money is he making from the American people? That platform that you're sitting on, son. Making money. Stealing it from the pockets. At least they're earning it honest. You stole it.
You guys know how this works. They didn't start out to make money. Okay? They started out saying stuff and it went viral and then they put on YouTube and wow, lo and behold, it gets monetized. And then they do a lot of research. They do bigger videos because that's what people want. They're their own small entertainment industry.
Let me know when you're finished.
And then YouTube isn't pulling the plug. Facebook isn't just pulling the plug on Diamond and Silk. It's all conservatives, and these Democrats are like, why are we here for just you? You're not there for just them. You're there because there is like a world of people out there. Go ahead.
All right, I'm angry. I don't even know what the name of that dude is, okay? But you get, what are they called again that we covered the other day? These models on Snapchat or not, whatever.
Instagram
models.
Instagram influencers.
All right. You get a host of people that are called entertainers, okay? that work for millions and millions of dollars. They put in a very small amount of work, okay, aside from their having to go on the late night show to promote this movie for whatever, okay? You get people that are entertainers that make buku bucks, all right? And they, in all honesty, they don't have to work that much. I'm sorry, they don't. I am here to tell you that Leah and I put in each 40 hours a week on our YouTube channel that is far smaller than theirs. We get paid nothing for that 40-hour-a-week job. We do it because we love you guys. But if we wanted to make money, I would have absolutely no problem making money because I'm working for it. The research that we do, the website that I am building, everything, all of it, the actual time that it takes to set up. We have bought things, okay? I know what it takes, young man, to make a channel successful and the amount of time that it takes to go into it.
You don't understand.
It's work.
What he's telling you, what the Democrats are telling you, you're only allowed to succeed in the world. See, we believe in alternative. We believe in being your own boss. Now you don't have to go be. You don't have to be a newscaster on ABC, NBC, or CBS. They're just reading from teleprompters anyways. You don't have to go to Hollywood to be an entertainer anymore. Yeah. Right? You can, with the internet, with the advent of the internet, you can now be your own brand, your own person.
We are blessed that we are able to do this and still have our home-based business and still have our homestead. Okay? But I tell Leah all the time, these YouTubers, Stephen Molyneux, Lisa Haven, they are doing this full time. This is a full-time job. They cannot have another job. Diamond and Silk are doing this to the level and extent that they cannot have another job. So you, Mr. Congress, Senator, whatever man, want them to do all of this for free and not make money. And yet Eminem or whoever is allowed to rap and do whatever and make all kinds of money.
That's mainstream.
Because that's mainstream. Because this is alternative and it pushes a view that you don't agree with, then you're not actually working. What he is essentially saying is you're not working. Now, I love what she said about the merchandise. Hold up a second. If I manufacture something and I sell it to someone, that is completely separate from the work that it takes for them to put the videos together that they do. They are selling a product. Just because they have their own personal platform, which makes advertising nil, right? So they have their own free advertising because of the platform. They still are working to put the videos out.
So this is where socialism comes into play. You have to be part of the cog. And all these alternative people are not part of the cog. Let's hear some more.
To silence my voice.
Okay, wait, that's a different one. Let me bring up
the same one. I love Sean says, and I have to laugh here because I am getting angry, but he says, I wish she had ended it all that in a bag of chips, because you're not all that in a bag of chips is what he said he wished that she had said.
See that we have been censored. Yet when
I'm trying to find a few more clips because
I'm about to have a conniption fit up in here.
There's one with them with Sheila Jackson Lee.
And it's like this. I don't want to earn money on my show. I want to give to you guys and bless you. But he's saying I should be doing it for free.
Back.
Like
Diamond and Silk
taking my blessing away.
Had the ability to fight back. But what about the thousands of others being thrown out of our new public squares for no good, definable reason? We are here today to speak up for them, and we are here today to speak up for free speech. I thank the committee for your attention to the issue. I look forward to the discussion. I yield back.
Facebook publicly and privately acknowledged their mistake, apologized, and reached out to them by phone, on email, and on Twitter to work this out. And most importantly, as the charts next to me show, Diamond
times
restricted by YouTube, end quote.
Where are your Trump pins?
Oh my God!
Why don't we have our bling on?
Words, thus telling the pages how to behave in ways that repress and stifle express ideas including shadow banning, which block our content from being seen by our followers while depriving our brand through the demonetization of our videos. Followers stopped receiving notification when we posted videos and content. Followers was also mysteriously unliked from our page. Subtle and slowly, Facebook used one mechanism at a time to diminish our reach by restricting our page so that our 1.2 million followers would not see our content, thus silencing our conservative voices. When we reached out to Facebook for an explanation, they gave us the runaround.
Mom, is this your
Mark
paper?
Zuckerberg testified before Congress and stated that the most important thing he cared about was making sure no one interferes in the 2018 election. But after doing our research, we wondered if Mark Zuckerberg was using Facebook to interfere in the 2018 elections by labeling users' accounts as either liberal, very liberal, moderate, conservative, or very conservative. This is one of the main underhanded ways to censor conservatives. So if I'm labeled as very liberal without the option to edit it, update, and correct the settings, then algorithms are already put in place which allows advertisers that have liberal views, services, and causes to target at me. And you can see the graph on the screen. And it shows clearly that our personal accounts have been already labeled. Diamond and Silk personal Facebook page has been labeled by Facebook.
18 minutes.
Okay.
1 hour, 24
1 hour, 4 minutes.
That difficult to identify bots, honestly. I mean, maybe at some future date, people will become more creative and it will be more difficult, but it's not so difficult now. And the question is, what is the standard of knowledge for the companies, especially publicly traded companies, and what is their liability exposure in terms of securities? And maybe we need a securities law expert to help answer that.
So upset about that guy.
Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Sure, thanks, gentlemen.
You.
Recognizes the gentleman from Ohio,
You're just
Mr.
here to
Shabbat.
make money.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'll go to Ms. Hardaway and Ms. Richardson, I think better known as Diamond and Spice, first, if I can.
Diamond and Silk.
Diamond and Silk. My apologies. Hopefully I get the rest of it right.
Okay.
Mr. Nadler introduced and asked the other three gentlemen about whether there was any evidence of Facebook or others blocking conservatives, and they indicated no, they didn't really have anything. But he didn't ask you those questions, and it's my understanding that you have personal knowledge of this, in fact, experienced this yourselves, being blocked because it actually happened to you. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. And very deep in the settings of Facebook, there is a setting called Your Categories, which Facebook label individual account as either liberal, very liberal, conservative, or very conservative. Our personal Facebook account have been labeled very liberal, thus meaning that anybody that is advertising or want to advertise, that's the only type of advertisement that we will see on our Facebook page. So if you are in a conservative and you're advertising as a conservative, your reach will not be far. The reason being is because there are individual Facebook pages that have been labeled as very liberal. Now, with this particular setting, we cannot change it, we cannot correct it, we cannot update it. This has been a default setting set by Facebook on individual personal pages. With that setting set, if you cannot change it, then guess what? Facebook control what you see.
All right. Let me move on if I can. It's my understanding that
and that's true. I fact checked that.
A whole lot of different
totally
things.
is
One of those
absolutely
is
true. You guys need to check that on your Facebook too.
Yes, we do.
And I think in general, you tend to agree with and agree with some of his policies and have been generally pro-President Trump. Is that accurate?
Because that
we love our president. We love his agenda. We love this country.
And others have found fault with that, is my understanding. You've been criticized by some for that point of view. Is that correct?
But that's their problem, not ours. Because this
right.
is our platform.
That's right. We do not solicit our page to them.
Right.
They come to our page. And there are something called troll farms. When people come to our page and deliberately and they thumb down our page. Facebook have a mechanism sitting there that when you thumb down our page, you come to our page deliberately, thumb it down, then there's an algorithm that's put in place where if you get too many thumb downs, now your page is restricted, blocked, your posts disappear, and then shadow banning is there where we can see our posts, but everybody else can't see our posts.
Do you think it's unsafe or it's hate speech to offer a positive view of our president?
Excuse me?
Do you think some people, certainly you don't think that it's unsafe or hate speech to be positive about the president, right?
It is not unsafe, or is it hate speech to love this country and love and stand behind the president of the United States? When Obama was in office, if we had to get behind him, why not get behind this president right here?
Yeah, let me follow up. And then some other things that you've talked about, I think that you believe that we should control our borders. As a country, we have the right to do.
Absolutely. Don't you? Yeah. Ain't this place controlled? When I came up here today, security had to check us out. We just couldn't walk up in here. Don't you secure your house? The border should be secure.
And another thing, if illegal aliens have a right to, don't have a right, but if illegal aliens can come here to America and obtain the American dream, why can't Diamond and Silk?
That's right.
Just put up the title.
And
Diamond
some other things that you discussed, my understanding is things like
these women make me so happy.
Protecting the unborn, is that
happy?
something that you've discussed in the past, that you think that we ought to protect those that have a right to have life? Is that something that
absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And first of all, those are our beliefs, and we have a right to those beliefs. What's wrong with the way we believe? Why is it now in this country, whatever used to be right is wrong, and what's wrong now is right? If I have a belief, that's my belief. But nobody have a right to censor my free speech. Yeah. Nobody has a right to do it. And to maliciously and deliberately do it is what really irritates me. It just irritates me.
Very good. Thank you. I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman. Chair, thanks, gentlemen. Recognize the gentleman from Georgia.
This is the best TV ever.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We could be here for a lot of reasons this morning. We could be.
Didn't we watch this guy already?
Looking into the manipulation.
I cannot listen to this dude again. I will get angry.
My first thoughts are this: that I'm thinking about a situation like Jim Hoft and Gateway Pundit, the fourth most influential conservative pundit throughout the last election cycle. Watching his traffic be cut to 1/11 of what it was just on Facebook alone.
That's the Gateway Pundit he's talking about. His traffic's been cut by 1/11. It used to be that when we first started our Facebook page, almost every single person that liked our page, for the amount of people that liked our page, that was as many views as we got. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty good, right? And now I can literally post something. We have, I don't know, 1,700 likes on Facebook, and there will be some posts that 24 people see. Whereas when we first started our page, we had like, I don't know, it was like 500 to 1,000, 1,500. I mean, we've had posts that will reach that, but it's very rare. Usually our posts would be seen by way more people than liked our page. We have 1,900 followers right now. All right. So we had a third of that or a quarter of that, and we were getting like so many more views and shares and all kinds of stuff. 24, that's just one. I mean, most of them are up in, you can see, for those of you that aren't following, when we make a post on our Facebook page, it will tell us how many of our people have seen it. What that means is how many people literally it's going into their feed. And then they have this really great thing. You can boost your post for $3.
His views have gone from been dropped down from 33%. Facebook page was 33% of the overall views, down to 3%. That's right. 1/11 of what it was. That would be evidence of censorship, in my opinion. A number of other comments in there that I'd like to introduce that into the record.
I like Breitbart. They don't come up in my feed.
Publisher says Google banned it over.
The only time I was shocked, the day Zuckerberg went before Congress, the pages that I have liked that talked about it came up in my feed. And I was like, oh my gosh, my feed's back. Next day, gone.
Faith we express, which illustrates that quoting the Bible can get you censored in this country. And there are multiple charts here delivered by a Gateway Pundit of other, here's Gateway Pundit's traffic, here's the President's traffic, which the gentleladies expressed in their testimony, the Young Conservatives traffic, which went from around 5.75 million down to essentially nothing, and in a similar period of time, multiple other sites, conservative sites, all of them, the graphics and the charts, it's the best material out here that quantifies this impact, I think, produced by Mr. Jim Hoft. And I hope that one day he can come and testify before this Congress as well, because my private conversation with him has been very powerful, and I ask unanimous consent to introduce these documents into the record. In hearing no objection.
Objection be made part of the record.
Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And now, where do I go with this? My first thoughts are this, that I'm thinking about a situation like Jim Hoft and Gateway Pundit, the fourth most influential conservative pundit throughout the last election cycle, watching his traffic be cut to 1/11 of what it was just on Facebook alone. Yeah. And I don't see that Jim Hoft has as much television presence, perhaps, as our Diamond and Silcap. So I wanted to ask you, Ms. Hardaway, or you, Ms. Richardson, if you didn't have a spot on Fox News, if you had to rely on just watching your traffic go down on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitter and wherever else, would you have a chance to have a voice to express this, or could it be that because you had another outlet, this issue came up far enough that now America's watching?
Absolutely. Because we had another outlet, because the Republicans, certain Republicans spoke out about it and took up for the little voices like ourselves, is how this came to light. If not, we would, when they deemed us unsafe to the community, it would have been that. They told us we couldn't appeal it. We would have been out. And this is what happened oftentimes with people in our country, particularly minorities, where these big giants, they take and they put their feet on your neck. They pull the rug right up from under you and then dare you to move. You know, they tell us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. But how can we do that when they take those same straps and use them to hang us out to dry? That is not fair, and that's got to stop in this country. And it stops today with everybody.
You know, I really appreciate the way you look at the American dream. I want my right to earn the American dream.
That's right. That's right.
And is there any difference in your mind between, say, Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, those, we'll call them utilities, not necessarily public utilities, but utilities? Is there any difference between them and, let's say, UPS and FedEx? If you're making your living selling things and shipping it out on FedEx, is that any different than it is making your living by pitching a message out through Facebook?
Absolutely, because listen, they have these platforms to have it where you can monetize. You can make money off of these platforms. So if you're building your brand and you're pumping money into building your brand, it is not fair for somebody to change the rules in the middle of the game.
Smack in your face. We felt it, but it was a small
You misunderstood the question, but I still can roll with her.
You change the rules in the middle of the great game, and then people are left out to dry. That's not fair.
Let me clarify this question. What if you're producing a product, and maybe it's a home little garage factory or a larger factory, and you're shipping that product out on FedEx, and FedEx decides you're conservative, so we're not going to deliver your product to your customers. Is there a difference between what's going on with Facebook and what would be going on under that circumstance?
Well, that would be, to me, discrimination.
Yeah, it's on both, discrimination on both sides.
On both sides. And listen, wait a minute. This is for all voices. No voices should be censored. None. This could be bipartisan. I don't care if you're on the left or the right. The deal is that no voices should be silenced, and you should not be discriminating. If it's a platform to express all ideas, express all ideas, not just one side. Not just put it where it's one-sided. Well, I'm just seeing liberal group views, where you have my account deemed liberal when I'm very conservative. I am a Republican, but you don't have that up there. And why are you making those decisions for me? Why didn't you give us the opportunity to put in what we are, our political affiliation? And what does our political affiliation have to do with Facebook? Just think about that.
I want to let you know that I tweeted you out to see if you were blocked on mine, and you're still alive on my Twitter. So thank you very much. Appreciate your testimony. I yield back.
Would the gentleman yield?
I would yield to the chairman.
I just want to thank the gentleman for yielding and take note that it would be nice if these three companies were here to explain themselves and their policies and whether they truly are fair to people all across the political spectrum. Because I put in the record liberal organizations that were concerned about this too. They set themselves up as a platform. They need to promote free speech, not stifle it.
Right.
Did the gentleman yield for a second?
Yes, the gentleman controls time, but I'll yield him. I'd yield to you.
Thank you. I just want to point out one thing. Ms. Hardaway and Ms. Richardson have had interesting testimony about their interactions with Facebook, and maybe Facebook has treated them unfairly, and maybe not. I don't know. But that doesn't establish a pattern, which is the subject.
I think, yeah, because you didn't bring in more people. He just talked about Gateway Pundit, didn't he?
Besides Michelle Obama, and then, of course, a message for Oprah. Ask unanimous consent to put these in the record. Thank you. And I think that is clear that there is a First Amendment protection that you all deserve, as I deserve it, the witnesses deserve it. So let me pose these questions. Ms. Hardaway, have you ever been paid by the Trump campaign?
No. We've never been paid by the Trump campaign.
You've never been paid by the Trump campaign?
We have never been paid by the Trump campaign.
Not $5, not $100?
We have never been paid. We have never been paid by the Trump campaign.
Let me ask a specific question. $1,274.94.
We have never been paid.
Ms. Hardaway, my understanding is that you received the now infamous email from Facebook, the email calling your space page unsafe on April 8th, 2018?
No. That was not April the 8th. We received that on April the 5th, 2018.
Now on April 11th, you appeared on the Ingram Angle on Fox News to discuss this matter. The host, Laura Ingram, asked, did you get contacted by Facebook, and has this been reversed? Have you been contacted by Facebook?
We was contacted via Twitter on April the 12th.
You responded, we have not been in communication with Facebook. We have not been contacted. We have not spoken to anyone over the phone.
That's true. We had been in contact with them. We haven't spoken to anyone over the phone.
Right. They said it was in direct communications with us, and we had not been in direct communication.
Did you, on that show, say that you were not contacted?
We were not contacted. We was contacted on the 12th. We was contacted on the 12th via Twitter.
All right. So are you saying that you did not lie on that show, or you did lie?
We did not lie on that show. We did that show on the 11th. We was contacted by Twitter on the 12th, by Facebook on the 12th via Twitter. And when we looked in our verifies, there they were.
Is it your testimony today that as of April 11th, when you went on Ms. Ingram's show and said that Mr. Zuckerberg had lied about trying to contact you, that Facebook never reached out to you or Ms. Richardson about this issue?
Mark Zuckerberg said that they was in direct communication with us. That, like they had spoken to us. They did not do that.
Did you get information from Zuckerberg or Facebook?
No.
Any means of communication?
No.
You just said you got it through Twitter.
We got it through Twitter on the 12th, on April the 12th.
The next day.
Hold on for a moment. Miss Jackson, don't try to mince my words. Let me explain to you this here. April the 5th, 2018. They took and they deemed us unsafe to the community and told us it wasn't appealable. That was April the 12th is when
I am the one asking questions. You're in a judicial committee hearing, and I respect you, and you're going to respect me. Now, my question is, have you gotten contact from Facebook? And Ms. Richardson may want to answer it. Have you?
No.
All right. And you're saying under oath that you did not. And so the Twitter is not communication?
The way you're asking that question is a little confusing. No, you're asking that question and you're missing words right here.
Gotten any communication from Facebook?
On April the 12th. Via Twitter.
And what mode was that?
That was via Twitter.
All right. So, and you got information. So your testimony that you did not is not truthful.
That is truthful.
Let me move on to Professor Wallman.
Time of the gentlelady is expired.
I asked that my introduction of my two young ladies not be attributable to my time.
How you use your time is yours, and that did count on your time.
That is not the case. Professor Wallman, I'd like you to answer this question.
Time of the gentlelady is expired.
If Facebook attempts to answer the question or respond, is that legitimate that Facebook is that legitimate that Facebook be held to
We're going to get through all the witnesses. We have to observe these time guidelines. We can't give everybody 2 extra minutes.
I asked for the chairman to have gotten out of the seat when he said yes, and the staff is standing here and they need to be able to speak up. I want this question answered by Mr. Wallman.
Thank you, madam.
Mr. Wallman,
The gentlelady
can you
has
answer that
expired.
question,
There may
please?
be time after everybody
Wallman,
else.
can
I
you
hope
answer
you
the
guys are
question?
finding this as entertaining
Mr.
as we
Wallman,
are.
can you answer the question? You're not
Time
going
the
to be
gentlelady has
Facebook has an
expired.
opportunity to make those decisions for its own.
This time we'll recognize
They don't do it
Mr.
in a
Biggs
biased
for
way.
5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Wallman.
Wow. Was that it? There's the mom
Yeah,
had
through
130
30.
on there.
Through 30.
No, but she just through 30.
Yeah.
Dang, I want to watch the whole thing. Oh, hot dog. Was that not fun or what? Wow. I love those women so much. I don't have words. I literally don't after that. I mean, I'm speechless. I can't believe that they stood their ground. They weren't nervous. I love how she stood up to that Miss Jackson lady. Don't mince my words. It was plain as day. We were on Ingram on the 11th. They contacted us on the 12th. How can you lie about something futuristic? Right. What was she supposed to know they were going to contact her on the next day? Seriously? Wow. Holy smokes.
So, there's a good, I think it was last night. Here we go. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
What does any of that mean? Down on this, or the digital search will follow it all night. In recent years, the digital video monopoly YouTube, which is part of the digital search monopoly Google, has been accused of trying to silence conservative viewpoints.
Ivana says, don't talk while I make you look like a liar.
Innocuous center-right content providers have found themselves censored on YouTube. YouTube denies doing any of this on purpose. It was accidental, they say. We have no political agenda. Well, it turns out that's a lie. This show has exclusively obtained an internal YouTube memo from April of 2017, last year, that lays out in detail how YouTube censors videos. One of the reasons the extent of YouTube censorship isn't obvious to most people is because the company is smart enough not to scrub every video it wants to censor. Instead, many videos wind up in what the memo describes as limited state. Sounds like something out of Scientology. Videos in limited state are intentionally pushed down on the site, so they're harder to find. They're also demonetized, meaning the people who post them can't make money from them, no matter how often they're viewed. Think that isn't a big deal? What would happen if you couldn't find the New York Times on a newsstand? What would happen if its publishers weren't allowed to make money from selling it? Would that qualify as censorship? Obviously. Of course it would. So what are the criteria for censoring videos on YouTube?
Truth.
Well, according to the memo, quote, controversial religious or supremacist content qualifies. So there's, quote, highly controversial, inflammatory content. What exactly does any of that mean? None of it is defined. It's totally subjective. YouTube makes the call and does so with maximum political intent. For example, YouTube decided it was inflammatory for PragerU to question the notion that all cops are racist. If you don't think they are, you're in trouble, according to YouTube. So PragerU's video was demonetized and effectively declared hate speech. Yet videos that suggest that, I don't know, white people are inherently evil remain on YouTube without any restrictions. That's clearly political. The memo makes it very clear where YouTube censors are coming from. It explains that the company is committed to, quote, the freedom to belong, including the resulting benefits of diversity and inclusion. Okay, sounds good. But what exactly does that mean? Again, it's entirely subjective and intentionally so. At one point, the memo declares that any, quote, demeaning language against a protected group may result in a video being removed from the site. So who are these protected groups? Well, according to YouTube, refugees are a protected group. So let's say you don't like the fact that refugees are being resettled in your neighborhood, for example. You've assumed it was your right as a citizen to disagree with government policy. Nope, not according to YouTube. They will censor your complaints about what your government is doing and call you a bigot in the process if you don't like refugee resettlement policy, for example. Well, it's not surprising that one of the trusted flaggers YouTube has deputized to censor extremist content is the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is itself, irony of ironies, an extremist group. The SPLC has a long history of inciting hatred and division for political ends. It was the SPLC that slandered the Family Research Council as, quote, a hate group, and labeled the Pulse nightclub shooting a right-wing attack, which, as you know, it was not. The SPLC is totally discredited, and anyone who spends 5 minutes reading about it comes to that conclusion. And yet YouTube trusts the Southern Poverty Law Center to censor your videos, and that tells you a lot. We contacted YouTube for a statement on all of this, and we asked whether the company had revised its policies since the memo was written last year. The company barely responded. Flack linked us to a blog post written by a Google lawyer last June in which he vowed that the company would be more aggressive in censoring videos it doesn't like. It's worth noting that almost nobody in power is fighting back against this censorship. Here you have an American company incubated in America by Americans under the protection of American law and courts, which is now working to undermine the most sacred of American rights, which is the freedom of expression. Yet the Congress, which is run, by the way, by Republicans right now, is doing precisely nothing about this. When you ask them, they mumble something unintelligible about free markets and get back to designing another tax cut for companies like YouTube. Meanwhile, the rest of us who live here, the ones who still care about free speech, are left to fend for ourselves. The big digital monopolies demand that we conform to their worldview, and they shut us down when we dissent. They have too much power. They are a threat to this country. It is time to complain while we still can.
Well said, Tucker.
But YouTube isn't the only politicized part of Google. In an internal memo written by Google revealed by James Damore's lawsuit, managers are told to avoid rewarding people for following the dominant, quote, white male culture of America. Aspects of that culture, the memo said, included the meritocracy, belief in objectivity, and individual achievement. Ideas that nobody thought were race-specific until now. Harmeet Dillon is representing James Damore in this lawsuit. She joins us tonight. It's hard to...
So,
how about that?
There you have it.
Wow. You guys know how I feel about this. I don't know that we can even expound anymore on the censorship issue. I think we have to move on. I'm seriously still upset about that. The first guy that we showed essentially saying that they were just trying to mooch money off of Facebook. You do understand that it's a legitimate platform that Facebook benefits from as well.
Yeah.
You can't just say you're evil for making money. That's our job.
Okay, so I don't even know where to begin with this because here's the thing.
Oh, now I'm going to get upset again. Kanye West.
The dude is, quote, married to a person who literally her whole identity is on posting naked pictures of herself. So, fair warning, I have a hard time getting behind the Kanye West is supporting Donald Trump gig.
I'm not behind it.
But I do find it incredibly entertaining and incredibly hilarious. So that is why we're going to bring it to you. Kanye West tweets out a picture of himself with the Make America Great hat on, and Donald Trump
says it's
retweets him out and says it's cool. It's cool. Thank you, Kanye. Very cool. We got love is what he said on the 25th. Kanye West also tweeted that he would be meeting with Trump backing venture capitalist Peter Thiel. He's got their signs up. Kanye 2024, Keep America Great. I don't know. And now there's this other guy, Chance the Rapper, joined Kanye West to say black people don't have to be Democrats. And so that became a thing to where everybody else was like, Jewish people don't have to be Democrats. Women don't have to be Democrats. And it just, it's taken on a life of its own. And it's all because Kanye West tweeted out Red Pill Black, who I love. Who I love, Red Pill Black. And she's rolling with it. She's rolling with this whole thing, which is hilarious as well.
All right, so yeah, there is, and that's how. Actually, it's because of Red Pill Black that this whole thing got started.
Right. Not only did Kanye go on a tweet storm showing his support for Trump, he ripped Obama for doing nothing in Chicago. Obama was in office for 8 years and nothing done in Chicago now.
And nothing in Chicago changed.
What's actually really hilarious about it is watching the liberals melt into a puddle of just tears. They don't know how to handle it. And it's really fun to watch. And that is probably the best part of it. Just watching. Here's his Make America Great Again hat. Thank you, Kanye. Very cool. And then he tweets out, Kanye West tweets out Donald Trump tweeting him out.
I want to explain something to our viewers who may not know anything about Kanye West. He is a rapper, and he is married to Kim Kardashian, and he thinks that he is as famous as Jesus. More. He thinks that everyone knows who he is. He thinks that he has a lot of power. I remember when Taylor Swift won the Female Vocal Award, whatever, and he stands up in the middle and says it should have been Beyonce and all this stuff, and he had to then later apologize to Taylor Swift. He's a child inside who thinks that he's a king already. I want you to know something. I am dead serious. He thinks he can be president of the United States, and he is probably going to run for office in 2024. His wife, it's hard for me to spit that word out, Kim Kardashian, also believes that he could be president in 2024 because she thinks that she is queen of the universe, and because everybody in the whole wide world actually does know who she is. People in Africa know who she is. That popularity is enough to win you a presidency. I want you to know what is happening right here, right now. Kanye West is best friends with a very evil and wicked rapper, lyricist, whatever you want to call him, named Jay-Z, literally spelled Jay-Z. He is the only, or I should say the widest known Satanist, legit Satanist in the world right now. Beyonce is also a Satanist who Kanye is also very good friends with. They are very liberal. They are very evil. They are very racist people. Kanye West has been friends with Trump, and I say friends, I use that term loosely. They've known each other, kind of pat each other on the back kind of thing, for a while. Kanye sees what Trump did. He was a Democrat, decides to run on the Republican platform. People bought it. Works. Kanye thinks that he is going to do the same thing. Do you see how this is happening? He is best friends with the biggest known Satanist in the entire world right now, Jay-Z. Best friends. That's the devil right there. He thinks he's going to be president. This is all,
but you know what?
A joke.
Can we turn around to being positive? Because actually, the good news is people are waking up.
True.
And
I'll give you that.
Are coming out.
I'll give you that.
I think it's
I
actually
don't think
a
it's
really
a bad
good
thing. Let me I do not think what is happening is a bad thing, but I want everybody to be aware of Kanye's goal that will not be materialized, but his heart is not in it. It's going to change a lot of people, and that's a good thing. But his heart isn't in it. So don't go thinking he's a good dude. That's my point.
I think I want to hear from our president.
This is Red Pill Black that he tweeted out.
To tell us that something about Black America is a priority for him tomorrow. I would love to hear him focus on mental health, education, healthcare. Those are issues that he can help us with tomorrow.
Yeah, Obamacare worked out great for everybody.
Those issues.
Well, look, it sounds like they're signing up for 8 years of Trump. That's what it really comes down to, because he's doing a great job, the numbers are better, and he needs more time in office to continue to do an amazing job. So it sounds like you're almost aboard the Trump train, which makes me feel happy. We're agreeing on something here.
Well, let me say something. I want to see Trump be successful because this is our country, but I don't think he is focusing on the issues that really affect Black America. I hope he would, though.
So then you must agree that Obama was not focusing whatsoever on the issues that were affecting Black America if you don't think that Trump is right now, because the numbers are in and Blacks are doing better under his administration.
I love President Obama, and I don't think we should spend any more time trying to put him down.
I think it's important to show that things are a lot different, and it's important because for so long they have told us that because there was a Black president, this meant progress. Progress is not a skin tone. Progress is a number, okay? And for so long we've been convinced, Look, he's taking a photo op with Beyonce and Jay-Z. That means absolutely nothing. Chicago got worse while Obama was in office, and he came from there. That's what you can't dispute the facts here.
Is this a cultural shift? Is this going to have...
We are on the brink of a cultural shift, and I can tell you right now, it is going to be amazing to watch. And I'm so happy that it starts with a single tweet. And I did predict it. I said Kanye West.
She predicted Kanye West. And you know what? Whatever. I like
And they never want to hold up a mirror to what...
So...
Well, listen, that's because Chicago is run by Democrats, and they never want to hold up a mirror to what they're doing, so that's why we never heard those names. 4,000, that's exactly right. That's the exact same number, about the same number of Americans that were slaughtered in the Iraq War, right? It's a war zone, and Trump offered to send the National Guard, and the Democrats majorly opposed him. So what it comes down to is Trump is trying to be effective there, and we're seeing that we have so many great results in Black America because of him.
So, she's on a roll, and... it's pretty cool.
I do believe that this is a good thing from that standpoint. I want to be clear.
When you had the late night host Jimmy Kimmel and everybody tweeting out, they said now Jimmy Kimmel said, "Oh well, now Trump has 2 black friends because Ben Carson and now Kanye West, whatever." That's not true. Tons of black people support him, and
not just people have supported him, but Trump has an actual history of having black friends, of supporting the black community, of not seeing race at all. If anything, he kind of capitalizes on the black race sometimes because he sees how much people receive the black people really well. So, and I think he utilizes that to his advantage from a business standpoint.
This, I believe, there was 2 parts to her smackdown on Black Lives Matter. And that was what he said was he could get behind.
After first, and the black homicide rate actually went up 19% in this country because black police officers across the board didn't want to do their jobs, okay? So Black Lives Matter is actually harmful to black lives. And I will say this also. I will not whatsoever, ever take Black Lives Matter seriously, because if Black Lives Matter to Black Lives Matter, we would be talking about abortion, which has murdered 17 million, which has murdered 17 million black babies since its inception. So if you want to talk to me about the 0.0004% of black people that get unarmed black men that get gunned down by police, you're going to first have to have a discussion to me about why you're not outside boycotting every single Planned Parenthood in this country.
Yeah, she's good. I gotta tell you, she
is good. That gives me goosebumps.
Good. And there was another. I don't think I have it up. But the one that he tweeted out where she was laying down the smack. It's pretty intense.
To strap black people to this idea that they are victims. That's what it comes down to. They do not want black people focused on their futures. They want black people focused on their past. They like black people to be government dependent. They don't like to see black people that are free thinkers and are independent. And I think that's what Kanye West and myself represent to the black community, and that makes them very nervous.
And that's true. Getting the ability to just think for yourself, coming out of that. Okay, here we go. I think, is this it?
We have some black people that are just shouting in the back. We have some black people that are sitting in the front quietly that are...
Here we are.
Chanting USA and having a normal conversation. I love that, because what I say every single time, and you may have seen me on the news, is that what is happening right now in the black community, you're going to hear it in this room first. There is an ideological civil war happening. Black people that are focused on their past and shouting about slavery, and black people that are focused on their futures, okay? That's really what it comes down to, okay? I can guarantee you what you're seeing happening is victim mentality versus victor mentality. And I promise you, the people here are going to...
I love that.
And there's no doubt in my mind. I can tell you right now who is going to be better off when we look 20 years and we look at the faces in this room. Who is going to be better off are the girls that are sitting right here and across this room, because they don't have your mentality. Victim mentality is not cool. I don't know why people like being oppressed. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. I love oppression. We're oppressed. 400 years of slavery, Jim Crow, which, by the way, none of you guys lived through. Your grandparents did, and it's embarrassing that you utilize their history. You utilize their history, and you come in here with more emotion than they ever had when they were living through it. More emotion than they ever had when they were living through it. It's embarrassing. You're not living through anything right now. You're overly privileged Americans.
And that's what He tweeted out.
I love it.
He said, I like the way Candace thinks.
I love it. Sanhar says, I don't trust Candace. For those of you that don't know, she was a Democrat that woke up because of censorship that was happening to her and things like that.
Here's the Bible says this. If they're not against us, then they're for us. And right now, she is preaching the gospel of truth. As she and I are on the same team. You don't have to trust everybody. Like, I trust, what do you trust? Milo? Who do you trust? Do you trust Alex Jones? You don't have to trust anybody.
Guys, I don't trust Donald Trump.
Okay? Yeah, you only need to trust Jesus. Trust Jesus.
Exactly.
And if somebody, anybody, even somebody on the far left, says something that you know is true, you can get behind it.
You don't have to get behind them, but you certainly can get behind what they're saying,
right.
Which I am doing, and I'm being a perfect example of this. Kanye, in my mind, I believe he is put there by Jay-Z and Beyonce. I gotta tell you, I honest to goodness think that he has been. I don't think this is genuine inside of him. But like they're saying in the chat, like Leah said, it's actually going to wake people up. It's going to work against them. They think they have this sneaky little plan. It's going to backfire on them. But we can still utilize it while it's going, while it's running. Run, baby, run.
That's our show for the day.
That's the show. Thank you guys for being here. I'm sorry we were late, a little bit tardy. Keep them wanting more. Are they coming? Are they going to go live? I got a message yesterday from Sean. Are you guys going to go live? No, but I can talk about my bees. So I did. And did a little bit of a tour around the farm here.
So what can you do? Keep getting this information out there. Fight the censorship. Do whatever you can. The only reason we go live was to fight the censorship because they were censoring our videos that we put up, and then we realized, if we go live, then we can get more people to watch. Well, then they censored that as well, and it's like, you know what? Just keep plugging because guess what? We're winning. They're trying to take away everything, but they can't. They're going to lose. They're going to lose really bad. I'm talking about the end and the destruction of the entire system that they know. Right. The globalists worldwide, this internet that you're watching right now, this is the Matrix. We're taking them down. Okay? You're taking them down. We're getting this information out. For years and years and years, people like Bill Burnett have been trying to get information out there.
It was his birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday, Bill.
Yeah.
And he's been trying to red pill people,
right?
By little meeting after little meeting, and he was laying the foundation for this to take place. In 2016, we had freedom. Ideas came out there. That's how Donald Trump was elected, because we were able to get the corruption of Hillary Clinton out there. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. At first, Zuckerberg said we did not have an effect on the election because before 2016 they did not censor conservatives. They didn't censor anybody.
Right.
It was just in your feed. Everybody was treated the same. And then the powers that be came to Mark Zuckerberg and said, Zuckerberg, you ruined everything.
Right.
Because it was Facebook, more than Twitter. And it was YouTube too, but YouTube, people were sharing the YouTubes on Facebook. And it was this giant mismatch in Facebook and YouTube. That's why they're demonetizing people, trying to demoralize us. But the more they come against us, the more we realize, oh my gosh, we are winning. That's why they don't have to do this to the New York Times or anybody liberal. They don't have to do this to Black Lives Matter to try to take them down.
Right.
This is the puritanical idea that you can only have one way of thinking.
Patriot Gallery.
Well, most people don't realize that Christianity is in the core of your being. The core of your being is Christianity. As soon as you walk into school, you become an atheist because all of a sudden you're afraid of getting good grades. You're afraid of disobeying your teacher. You're afraid you'll get punished. You get afraid of you have to raise your hand. You have to do your homework. It's fear. See, God rules by love, not by fear.
Right.
As soon as somebody makes you afraid, they're a tyrant. Tyrants rule by fear. So you become an atheist as soon as you walk in school. So you got to go back there and change your mind and say, I'm not going to be afraid of these teachers. Now, I saw lots of teachers do bad things. I mean, I know you all have. They lie, something terrible. They manipulate. They brown nose, and they let people brown nose, and they use your emotions. And that's the worst thing you do for a child is to manipulate and play with their emotions, and that's what they do. It's mental. There was a man teacher. Men are supposed to be teachers, and most men teachers see this and they stop doing it because men are called to be teachers. Women are called to raise children, but it's men who teaches. That's a whole nother subject. What I'm saying is, you're Christians. It's in you, and so what you see, I can tell you everything going on here is in the Bible. We just don't tell you you're doing what the Bible is telling you to do. We're not telling you you're abandoning Jesus, but I'm going to tell you you are. The most powerful force in the United States of America, what set the United States free is Declaration of Independence. Declaration of Independence is the acting out of the gospel of Jesus Christ. You tell people to repent. You go, and the Bible says, if your brother sins against you, go to him, tell him what he did wrong.
Yo.
If he changes, you've won a brother. We're hoping that happened with Kim, that he changed, and we won a brother. But if he doesn't change, you take more people. And then if he doesn't change, you turn your back on him. And that's what the Declaration is saying. The king we've gone to many, many, many times, he refused to change. And so he's abusing his power as king. Yeah. That we are equal with the king. They basically said they're equal with the king. And they're going to obey the Bible and have good, decent, moral laws. And he can't just keep taxing them and doing whatever he wants to do because there's laws of right and wrong. And when you preach the gospel, you're saying there's laws of right and wrong. That's the Declaration of Independence. You have to repent. If you don't repent, then we are at war with one another. People in the world say, you got to love everybody. You got to be friends with everybody. No.
Right.
If somebody's going to harm you and abuse you, no, you're at war with that person because that person wants to take, like teachers, they take your self-will, your freedom from you to choose to have faith in God because you have to believe them. You have to think they're smart. You think that they're telling you what God's will is for your life, and it's not. And so your teacher's actually at war with you, and most people, when they really get back there and they remember you hate school because they're making you do something against your will. You love to learn. Children love to learn. Yes, but they want to learn being loved. While they're learning that your mother or father, when they're teaching you, you say, right. What kind of bird is that? Your mother out of love will say, oh, that's a robin, a woodpecker, and you can feel the love. At school, you don't feel the love of teaching. Now, if you do, it's a worldly kind of love, and you don't want that kind of love. You want the godly kind of love. It's full of love and power, grace, but sternness of make sure you're doing what God wants you to do, because if you're not doing what God wants you to do, then you're in sin.
Right.
So, anyways, the power that's going to save this country is the power that saved us during the great the dependence and when we made our Constitution is the gospel.
Right.
Preach it, girlfriend.
Amen.
Power of God to salvation.
I love it. So I want to thank our moderators who are here. Like almost everyone was here. Donna Terry, Gary, Maia, Sean, Britt Baza. I hope I'm not missing somebody here. But thank you guys for being here today. I love our moderators, and I trust them. A lot of them have been asking me about how to deal with the chat and moderate and things like that. I want you guys to know I give them sole discretion. They are intelligent people. They can handle the chat as they see fit. So that's my stance on that. So anyway, Chris Holman says he's going live tomorrow afternoon. You guys want to check that out. We love you. God loves you. God bless.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell for notifications. We have a P.O. Box 107.
Milford, Ohio.
45150.
Now, I've been working on the website. Our friend Jay's been helping me. I was up until late last night working on it. He was really excited. We now have a favicon.
Favicon.
The favicon is the little icon next to, like, let's say you're at Facebook and then you see the little F. You're on Twitter and you see the little bird. You're on Gmail and you see the little envelope. I couldn't think of anything that represented Resistance Chicks. I'm looking at our picture here. I don't know what to make Resistance Chicks. So when you see it, that's Resistance Chicks. So I said, how about a couple of chicks? Like literally a couple of chicks. So he went together and put together a favicon. So you guys can check that out. Maia has been dropping that link in the chat. It's resistancechicks.com. It's not searchable yet. When you search Resistance Chicks or even resistancechicks.com without the www, you get Resistance Chick stuff like crazy, but you don't get the website. How do we get that moved to the top? I have submitted a thing. It's called to be indexed by Google. But more than that, if you guys share resistancechicks.com to other websites, post it on your platforms, the more that it gets out there, the more it will become the top search result when you put in Resistance Chicks. The top thing will be resistancechicks.com, which is what I would prefer it to be right now. It's Facebook and YouTube and things like that. They were asking for a song. You probably have to go. Or you can sing it with me.
What are you going to sing?
Well, this is what I was going to go with.
That's good. You should sing that.
I love this song, His Eyes on the Sparrow. The reason I wanted to sing it was because of Diamond and Silk. I think it was Lauryn Hill that made it famous in Sister Act. Too. I don't do it anywhere near justice as her. But it is one of my favorites. And a couple of you guys have asked for it. So for Diamond and Silk, we will go with His Eyes on the Sparrow. So thank you guys again for being here. And then we'll end with this and finish. And we'll see you back on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our UK and European news. Why should I feel discouraged? And why should the shadows come? Why should my heart feel lonely and long for heaven and home when Jesus is my portion? A constant friend is He. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. And I sing because I'm happy, and I sing because I'm free. Yeah. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. Let not your heart be troubled. His tender word I hear, and resting on His goodness, I lose my doubts and fears. Though by the path He leadeth, but one step I see. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. Last verse, because this is my favorite one, because it talks about when bad things happen, it doesn't matter. We trust in God. Whenever I am tempted, whenever clouds arise, when songs give place to sighing, when hope within me dies, I draw the closer to him. From care he sets me free. His eye is on the sparrow, and I know he watches me. So, I've been talking all day long. That was not what I would have wanted it to be, but it doesn't matter. We praise him in the good, in the bad, and that is the point. I have that. Leah says it was great. I love it. That song is on Mass Faith 3. Probably a little bit better than that. You can search for it. I did it a while ago. One night I was upstairs and I just sang it. But thank you guys for being here. Resistance Chicks would not be anything without you guys. Going back to the Diamond and Silk thing, we don't do this for money, but I'm very glad that they do. I'm glad that their voice is out there, and I'm glad that they can make a living at this, and it is completely unjust what has happened to them. So I want you guys to support the heck out of all the truther channels that you can, because the only way that our voice is going to remain strong is if you guys watch the content, share the content, comment on the content, and put it out there. Because I think it was Tucker tonight that said we need to speak out about this while we still can. So that's why we have our website, so you'll be able to find us if and when the worst ever happens. That's why it's there. Okay, so you guys have a wonderful weekend. Go out praising the Lord, and we will see you back here on Sunday. God bless, guys.
I was cold, all alone. No place for home every day. So afraid, but you called my name.